Hey everybody, how are you doing today? It's good to see you all here. Hi Jean, hi Pam, hi Carol, hi Caroline, hey Tracy, hey Sherry, hey Janet. It's good to see you all. Um, Thank you all for being here. We're gonna wait a few minutes for everyone to join. While we're waiting, why don't you let me know what your biggest color challenge is right now? Pop it in the chat, what your biggest color challenge is. Hi, Donna. Hey, Janet Mayuko and Kat. Hi, Caroline. Hey, Carol. Hi, Kylie. Good to see you all. Let's see, narrowing down a signature palette. Yes, that's always a challenge. It comes with time. Um, you have to do a lot of work, produce a lot of work. Hi, Anne, to get to that point, really of getting to your signature palette. I don't even really have a signature palette. It's more like the way that I use color is um, I would consider like my signature palette. I use vibrant colors and bold colors. And I think I usually have a high contrast in those colors. So my work is more about that than specific colors. And that's okay too. You don't have to have a signature palette. Yes, Sherry, developing color palettes. We go through all of that in color camp. I'm sure some of the alumni are here today to talk, and I'm sure they will give you some feedback on that. We go through many different techniques and exercises in color camp. Remembering what you taught me, what I taught you, that's funny. Yes, Kat, there's a lot to remember. The color camp is, I don't know how many lessons it is exactly, but it's 10 modules and they're pretty hardy. I think the first two are probably a little bit more hardy, I think, because it's analog, and some people put a lot of time into making their work really nice and beautiful and perfect. And some people work a little bit more like me, a little more loosely. Let's see. Jean says, getting a palette I like that works in all the patterns of a collection. Yes, that's always a challenge. That's always a challenge. And I'll teach you things in color camp, like working with a smaller palette. I'm all about smaller palettes with limited colors. Will help you get there. I'll teach you how to make tints and tones and shades with those colors so that um, all your colors have the same base, basically. And then like another huge thing I see is people who use too many colors with too many undertones of different colors. And that will make your palette like break apart like instantly. So um oh, I just remembered something, sorry, that I forgot to do that I need to tell you guys. Okay. So that will make your color palette break apart instantly if you have too many undertones, or people who use neutrals. I see this a lot too. Like they'll have, let's say you have 10 patterns in your collection, and people have picked neutrals to use, but they use all these different neutrals. And when you use all these different sorts of neutrals, that will break your palette apart really quick because your eye wants to make them the same color. Your eye is trying to make, sense of what it's seeing, and it's trying to make it in the most simple way possible. And it's seeing something where it's like, is that gray the same as that gray? I think it's the same gray, and it's trying to make it the same, but it's not happening. And so you'll see that will make your palette break apart. Mayuka comes indecisive with color choices. Still experiments with gouache paintings. Yeah. Yeah. That's okay to be indecisive with your choices. And something that will help you do that, Mayuko, is to start before you start your illustrations and just start making little dot color palettes. Just little studies, they could be little squares, little dots, and go through that. Yeah, just like Kat, hold your thing up again. If you can see Kat, what she's showing right now. Um, just like little swatches like that, a little swatch palette. And that will help you. There's a good swatch palette, Kat. Yeah. That will help you just doing little studies like that. They could just be little tiny little squares and doing that exploration first and kind of getting a sense of where you want to be with your palette. That will help you decide more. Once you kind of decide that core color palette, that will just help you decide more like when you're in the moment painting and saying like, okay, I'm starting with this palette, I've decided, and then kind of like, okay, what goes with that from there? Pam, knowing when to stop playing with colors. Yes. I think you just have to get to that point. And it kind of depends on like what you mean, like when you're playing, when you say playing with colors, like when you're exploring with colors, it's just kind of getting to that point where things really feel good to you. And you could go more, but do you need to? Like I could do this, but I really like where this is. You'll feel it when it feels right. The other thing I can like see envision is like people who use the recolor tool in Illustrator and they're just kind of like pulling it like it's like the jackpot machine at the casino. And it's like ding, 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 and they're like waiting for the one to hit. And it's like that could be dangerous. That can be dangerous. I do show you how to use the recolor artwork tool in Color Camp, but it's not really a tool that I use it more. I've used it more in the past, like very like in with a very like specific way in mind. Like I need to recolor this palette to this. So I've used it to recolor that way. I don't really use it for like the slot machine thing. But I also teach you about the generative recolor tool, which I like a bit better because you can type in a theme. Like I want it to be a warm summer day, or I want it to be cold, icy winter. You can type in that sort of thing, and the regenerative color will generate color palettes based upon your words. So that's a cool way to start. And even like in the beginning, when you're working with color, if you're not good with kind of coming up with multiple colorways and understanding that, that's a really good basic way to think about coming up with multiple colorways is like with any sort of colorway, you're trying to basically set a mood. Your color gives a vibe, it sets a mood for whatever it is, a brand, an illustration, a collection. It sets this mood. And when you're first starting out, sometimes you'll start with a colorway with the story, and then you think like, well, I have to come up with another colorway. How am I going to do that? So a good way to think about colorways is in two different worlds. Like this one is summer, like, reduce it to the most basic kind of words you can. This is like warm summer. And then you say, what's the opposite of that? Cool winter. And then you do that and you boop, 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 and then you have a new colorway. Yeah, Tracy treated color camp like her full-time job. She said, yes, Annie is guilty of that too with Pam pulling the pulling the jackpot. All right, so you're all here to hear a little bit about Color Camp. I think a few of you have already signed up, and thank you. I'm so excited to have you. Let's see here. So first of all, actually, I want to share something else with you too. Um, I have some of you are probably already joined this, but I have my design club, and I have a membership. It's called Multicolor Minds, and many of you are members of that. And we're transferring over to Circle soon. We're migrating, and we're changing it to Chico's Design Club. And there's all going to be everyone from Multicolor Minds is going to be in the ultimate tier, but there's a free tier too. So if you're not a part of it, you can join here. Here's the link in the chat. And I think that's all I have to say about that. I'm really excited about that new space that's going to be happening. It's going to be fun. And there's in the free part, you can have, there's all kinds of lessons about marketing and design tips and resources. So check it out. So let me answer your questions about Color Camp. First, let me give you the basics. Color Camp is August 5th through September 13th. And if you enroll as a VIP, it gives you 2 bonus weeks. So it's until September 27th. And it is $497 for the standard Color Camp. And it is $797 for the VIP. If you stay to the end of this, I will give you guys a special coupon that you can use today to save some money if you haven't enrolled yet. Okay, I'm going to show you, go over what's coming up in Color Camp here. Oops. I have lots of windows open, so bear with me here. I think this is the right one. Nope, it's the wrong one. That's the wrong one too. All right. Oh, that's the wrong one too. There we go. Okay. So Color Camp is August 5th through September 13th, and it's 10 modules. It's stretched over 6 weeks, and there's 2 implementation weeks during that time. So you can catch up on your homework, if you will. Some people put a lot of time into Color Camp, like Tracy was saying, and some people kind of fly through it. I'm more like, I just do what I need to do to learn, and I'm not trying to make it be like a super fine art piece. So there's no shame in doing whatever you need to do. So the first module is throwing shade. And it's all about understanding contrast, value, and grayscale foundations. And module 2 is striking a chord, and it's essentials of color harmonies and color theory. Module 3 is the interaction of color. This is one of my favorites. It's the study of relativity and relationships of color. Module 4 is shades of significance. So it's the meaning and naming of colors. Module 5 is pixels to paper. So now we start getting into navigating color spaces in like the digital world. So module 1 and 2, we're doing those all in the analog world. You just need some practical, common, everyday art supplies. Like you need some acrylic paint, some paint brushes, some Bristol board. When you enroll in Color Camp, I'll give you a list of all of that. Those things aren't included in Color Camp, but I'll give you a list of everything you need. And most people have, because you're all artists, have this stuff on hand already. And when we work in the digital world, we work mostly in Adobe Illustrator for everything. Now, module 6, painting with pixels. So now we really start focusing on digital color tools and Illustrator and understanding how color works in the digital world. It's how we mix color, or I consider it mixing color because it is kind of mixing color. Like you have to think about it in like paints in a way. And that's why we start in the analog world and then move into the pixel world. Then module 7 is palette play. So that's the art of creating captivating color palettes. So those of you who struggle with color palettes, this module is for you. Then module 8, we move into advanced tools. So other advanced tools for creating color palettes. And then module 9, we get into advanced techniques for working with color and creating really advanced palettes and understanding how color works. In a, when we start out with the palette play, we're doing it in a very more playful way. And then in advanced palettes, we're really moving into being really like intuitive, but also being really intentional with our palettes. And module 10 is color and action. So this is applying and refining your understanding of color. So this is now taking it and implementing it more into how color works in the real world when we get into production and print. So it's a 6-week course. There's weekly Q&As. They happen at the end of the week, each Friday. We're going to have 4 special guests. I'm super excited. My friend Lily, she is an entrepreneur and she has a travel company called Zapotec Travel by Lily. She's a pretty famous person. She has thousands of followers. And um, she also creates rainbow tortillas. So she's a good friend of mine, and she's going to take us into her restaurant, and she's going to show us all about making her rainbow tortillas. Then my friend Val, who's a tattoo artist who recently did this heart tattoo on my arm here, she's going to be talking about working with black and white, because anyone who is one of my students already knows how important I think it is to work in black and white. It's really the base of understanding design and the essentials of design. You're going to get the best results really when you can make something work in black and white. And then speaking of black and white, my friend Bowler, who's a visual artist in Oaxaca, he's a street artist, he's a digital artist, he produces products. He is somebody who does it all. He does everything. And I invited him this year to design our official Color Camp bandana. So I designed the logo, but he designed the bandana with one of his awesome hummingbird designs. And the reason why I had him show up at Color Camp and take us into his studio is because he works very graphically. He has a very graphic style, and his style translates to so many different products and different things across the board. And for me, that's the way I think about my work too. So it's really important when you understand working in black and white and understanding contrast and value, your work can translate to so many different things. And so that's why I invited him to create this black and white piece for Color Camp this year as one of our guests. And then lastly, my friend Marcella is a natural dye expert. She's been, I think her family's been creating dyes for 13 generations. And she's a rug weaver from Oaxaca and Teotitlan del Valle. And it also in the VIP pack, you're going to get some samples of her naturally dyed yarns. And they naturally are dyed from indigo. This one's from cochinilla, which is a little insect found on cactus pads. And this one is pericon, which is wild marigold. And we're going to get a little bonus lesson from her and see how these dyes are made. And we're also going to get some little extra beautiful things that she made for us, these little birds. Let's see. As you know, we have these analog and digital projects. If you're a part of the VIP, you're going to get some extra bonus lessons, and you're also going to be a part of a magazine project, a monochrome magazine that we're going to make together as a group. And you'll actually have the opportunity, if you want to purchase it, you'll be able to, we'll actually have it produced and made. So you'll be able to purchase it through Blurb. So we'll make it as a group, and you'll just be able to purchase it for the price that it costs to make it on Blurb. And it'll be pretty cool. We have an amazing community. I know some of you are coming back for the 3rd time, and I'm so excited. This is the 3rd time we're doing Color Camp, and I've already seen some 3rd-timers come in, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. It makes me so happy. So we have a super supportive community. Everybody's so cool that comes to Color Camp, of course. You're going to get lifetime access to the course. That means as long as you stay joined into the course, or when I shut the course down, if something happens, I'll give you all the content. And there's a bunch of new worksheets and lessons. Um, we're going to have a bunch of PDF worksheets, which I'm hoping next year to turn into a workbook. So that's the big dream goal for next year. You get a certificate of completion, and there's a 7-day money back guarantee. So if you don't like it the first 70 days, I'll give you a refund. No questions asked. All right. So I'm going to open it up really quick for some questions, and then I'm going to show you some work from past color campers or current color campers too, actually, some of you. But they're actually here, and they're going to talk a little bit about their experience in color camp and help answer questions as well. So if you have a question, just raise your hand. Don't be scared. Anyone? No questions? All right, so I'm gonna move on to, oh, Kylie made balloons happen. I love it. That's okay. I can't remember how to do it, but I love celebrating. So balloons are good. It goes with our theme. All right, so let me share my screen again. Share sound. Okay. So first thing is I'm going to share the work of Becca, and Becca couldn't be here with us today, but she did send us a little video and some of her work. So as a result of her being in color camp, she created this awesome, beautiful color palette here with paints, as you could see. And she submitted it to Uppercase magazine, and it got featured in Uppercase. I can't zoom in here. What's happening? There we go. It got featured in Uppercase, and I actually was featured in the same issue as well. And if you don't know about Uppercase, it's one of my favorite magazines. I've been in it twice. I'm going to be in the next coming up issue, and there's going to be this issue included in the VIP box as well. So everybody's going to get a copy of this issue. And you'll also get a 15% discount for a subscription if anybody wants to subscribe to Uppercase. So that is, and this is her original painted palette that she did in color camp. And then she developed it into this beautiful kind of arranged feature. And then this became her feature in Uppercase. So that was as a result of color camp. And then here's a color palette that she created for a quilt pattern. It's really beautiful, really harmonious, but it hits all the notes of having contrast and values. And here's a beautiful scarf design that she did. She's actually a member of my design club as well. And she did this in design club, I believe, and entered it for a contest for the first color camp. And she's coming back this year for the third time. And this is, let's go back here. This is her art before coming to color camp, and it was very subdued. And she got a lot more brave with her color after coming to color camp and came up with this beautiful expressive floral after that. And then she did a revision in 2024 of the same one. And this is her 2024 revision. So she keeps evolving her work. All right, and let's see. This little video she made for us here. Let me find it. Here we go.
Hey y'all, I am Becca of Willow Grove Designs, and I am a two-time Color Camp alumni. I am excited to talk to you about my journey with color today and how Color Camp has impacted that for me. As somebody who went to business school, not art school, a lot of the technicalities of color just weren't something that I really felt like I had a lot of confidence in. So taking color camp with Xhico has really helped me understand those fundamentals. The exercises that he gives that are very tactile, hands on with paint, it really gives you a deep understanding of what you're going to end up seeing on the screen eventually or in your finished printed product, whether that's paper or fabric or any number of products that we can find our art on. I had one of my palettes that I developed in Color Camp was actually published in Uppercase magazine. And I really don't think that I could have ever submitted something that was accepted if I hadn't had the background that I had in Color Camp. Aside from just my artwork, I'm also a quilter. And I have found that it's been really helpful for me with fabric pulls and understanding how those colors can go together and really being a lot more confident in that aspect as well. In fact, I recently won a design competition for one of my quilt patterns, and I really think that it was the colors that I displayed the quilt in that made the big difference for me. There's so many new bonuses and exercises every time with Color Camp. I feel like I have come out with more and more in-depth knowledge, and the people that are within the class really have developed their eye as well, and so there's a lot of good positive feedback in that community that I think is so important, in addition obviously to the wonderful feedback that we get from Xhico on our designs. I will definitely be showing up for Color Camp again this session, and I hope to see you there.
Oh, thank you, Becca. That's so sweet. That was so sweet of you. All right, so I'm going to show you some more work, and we're going to have a couple more alumni give you that are here with us, give you some of their feedback on Color Camp. All right, so first we have Mayuko. So Mayuko here has her before Color Camp, and she was having some issues with buzzing colors and contrast issues and not really kind of like having these right back here becomes a low contrast and then these start to buzz. And so she was having some issues with that. And then after Color Camp, she created this awesome version from her funky farm. And now you can see everything much better. She evolved her cow into this delightful, I love it, with the star pattern. And here she used some different techniques she used with gradients and filling her pattern in here. And everything turned out really great with this. It's so great, Mayuko. All right, Mayuko, do you want to share about your experience? All right.
Hi, my name is Mayuko Sato-Bratton from Sojo Beats Design. I was so nervous before joining this color camp first because that was also my beginning of joining multi Balamines group, and I didn't have any background in like academic learning in design or art, so I was really nervous before. But the coach Chico and members were so friendly and supportive, and I was so happy after joining. And also like the confidence level of choosing colors just boost kind of boost very good boost, and I'm just playing with a lot of colors now, and then I feel more joyful using colors in my graphic work, and also like painting got more fun after that course. So I highly recommend this to anybody who wants to level up their creativity. And actually, my friend is also joining color camp this summer too.
Oh,
She's
how
excited
great.
about it too. So yeah, thank you, Chico.
Thank you for being here and sharing that. Mayuko, what was your favorite part of Color Camp?
Oh my gosh, just seeing these other members' ideas, and it's very inspirational art pieces. Um, just was very mesmerizing to me too. And then everybody just kind of give each other feedback, and then just be there every week, like working on the same exercise, but also seeing as different things, a different interpretation of this classes lessons. So that was very impactful.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, as you know, that I love that also about my membership is that I just love the diversity that of everybody in the group. And it's the same in color camp. Everybody has a different style, a different vibe. And I really want to push people to be who they are and do the work that they're meant to do, you know? All right, thank you, Mayuko. All right, so let me show you some other work here from Kat. So let me find the right one. This is still beautiful, but this is her version before color camp. And I still think I love these colors. I love these vibrant kind of pinks and magentas with these soft greens. I think it's really beautiful. But during color camp, she created this beautiful color palette from one of the exercises. And then she took that exercise and expanded it into this palette here, which became the palette for this. And this is really beautiful and really sophisticated. I think, though, how much I love it because I love vibrant colors, I think this sort of color palette fits a more broad market and it makes it more marketable in a certain way, you know? So I think this is a really beautiful, sophisticated color palette. And then this here is her little Dreaming Fields collection. And you can see this is the Dawn version. And then she used a photo reference and revised it to this. And then in the exercise I have, you add a harmonious color after you come up with the first version. And then like a harmonious complement. And then this became her final color palette, which is really, really gorgeous. It's really beautiful. I love this orange. It makes me want to use this orange now. What do you call it? I can't read it, but I'm going to let you tell me because you're here. But yeah, it's really, really beautiful palette. I love that orange though. I want to start using it with my blue. And that's another thing we go over in color camp is naming colors and coming up with names for color. So Kat's here with us, so I'm going to let her talk about her work and talk about color camp. Hey, Kat.
Hi. Yeah, I'm Kat from Kat Art, and my background is I have a mixed background of differently than some of you. I do have a background in art and design and architecture. Never a graphic designer, and I certainly never did surface pattern design, never even heard of it before COVID. So that got me into this stream of things. Um, I I love Chico's feedback. He's an excellent mentor. He gives you so much personal time. These courses are, yeah, there were a lot of them and they were intense. Even if I was just kind of dashing my way through them, it's still a good focused time. It was an absolute joy to go back to using hand paints and just almost finger painting. I used paper palettes and just the paints I had in the house to make all of these. I was pulling some out to look at, the things that we went through. Pencil crayon here, or watercolor here to create this kind of idea of different, actually sort of mixing the colors. So going across the top here, using the same RGB, no, what was it called? Roy G. Biv. So that's kind of my background, Roy G. Biv. This is how you create a color. And you start with the red and you end with the purple, and then I mix those, and that sort of gave me that, what do you want to
Oh,
call
that
it?
was like the mixing
Yeah,
project.
yeah. So it was so fun going back to doing that. And I thought I knew about color, but I didn't. And I'd forgotten so much information, so much critical information that I had either just forgotten or made assumptions about. And so taking the course really opened my eyes. And I really did have to work and dig down to refine the way I thought about color and how to use it. And I think Chico's conversation about those undertones, that really helped me rather than kind of picking, oh, a blue I like, a green I like, which is what I used to do. I'd kind of like look at, you know, colors I liked and stick them together and hope maybe they worked, and jiggle them around a little bit. So this taught me how to move from that instinctive approach to mixing that with actually some skill. And one of my favorite takeaways from the course was when we moved from the analog, they got to a point where, okay, I want to put this into the computer. I want to make this something in the computer now. And as we moved into that realm, Chico taught us how to use, I think it's called the color guide. Yeah, the color guide. So if you pull up your swatches palette, beside that is a color guide. And inside of that, you can pull up contrast, warm, cool, um, kind of really strong, vivid, muted palettes. And they're in the color zone that you've selected. So then that would help me go and refine my palettes. So the one that he showed you of Dreaming Fields, that was a palette I put together. It had dawn, noon, and dusk. And I had never even, when I made up the dawn palette, I didn't even go outside at dawn. Just thought, what would dawn feel like? It'd be soft and mauve.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, it'd be really useful if I had some real color references from where I live to brighten up that palette, and then also play around with not just the harmony, but the surprise colors. So that color you liked was called Beam. That's what I called it.
Oh,
Oh, and
beam.
that's the fun thing is
That
naming
makes
our
sense.
colors, naming our palette colors. That was a lot of fun. So yeah, I called that Beam.
That's
What
great
else can
name
I
for that.
say? The whole, I mean, it was just enlightening, challenging, great community. I admired the work that came out of my fellow students. There was that one woman from Holland who just this wacko stuff, really beautiful work that was very different from anything everybody else was doing. We all had our individual strengths, and I think, and it was fun to see them grow. Chico's a great teacher. Of course,
That's awesome.
most of us here know that. I
Thank
will
you so
take
much.
color camp again, but not this summer, sadly, because we'll be on vacation. Damn,
That's
I'm going to
okay.
miss all those incredible artists that you've got coming in. I'm really, but
We'll be there
next
next year.
next time, yeah, next
Yeah.
time,
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kat. Thank you
yeah.
for being here. All right. And we have one more guest here. Janet, let me share and show you some of her work. All right. So Janet has these two beautiful color palettes that she came up with here and here. And she's also learning how to
Hmm.
identify her colors in different ways, which is a really important thing to learn. So I'm going to unmute Janet here and let Janet talk about her colors here. Hi, Janet.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Janet Federico. I'm with Al Medicine Designs. I am a first timer with Color Camp in the most recent, I think that was summer, right?
Yeah.
Your summer call, or winter, actually. I just took it. And first thing I want to say is the thing that I got from Color Camp that I needed and didn't even realize it, which is permission to play with color. So, coming into surface pattern design, I have been a graphic designer for a long time, but it's been very much business branding for 30 years, and most of them are corporate. So corporate kind of has a vibe, right? And so I started doing illustration and surface pattern design about 5 years ago. But when you come into this world, there's kind of like, this ethos about it. It's a lot of muted colors and pastel colors and, because you're looking for what's sellable. And honestly, it just never felt right for me, but I was trying to fit into that mold. And so coming into color camp, I knew, like, I'd been told I had a good eye for color, but I knew I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just kind of throwing paint on the wall and hoping it stuck or whatever. And Chico, just one, and, and, and side note, I've also been a curriculum designer for about 10 years. So I was so just happy with the way you structured your course and like how interactive it was, and the fact that we got to like do hands-on things, and you weren't just, spewing information at us and hoping it stuck. It was really good. But I was just so profoundly happy to like be given permission to be bold, to be vibrant, and to play with color. And so that purple, gold, pink palette that you showed was actually the brand palette that I started the course with. Like, so that was the brand palette I had been using for about 3 years.
Let me share the
And I
screen.
liked it. Okay.
There we go.
So I liked this. I thought, I liked it. I still like it, but it's very cold. It's very cool. And that wasn't really what I was going for. And so there is or at least when I took it, there was a module specifically on kind of like how Chico uses color in his branding and how he has different colors for certain channels and like all of these things, and developing kind of like your brand palette. And so I kind of took that course and ran with it, and then created that second palette.
Which is this
And
one
so that
here.
second palette, this one is now my brand palette. And I use certain color, like one's my social media palette, and like also my brand colors are in this now too.
I love it.
And thank you. And it's just been so much more fun. Like I'm having more fun in my brand because I feel like the colors more closely represent me. And then I will say, since taking color camp, I've had 2 opportunities to have my palette, my portfolio reviewed. And they commented specifically on my use of color, which I had updated all of my designs after taking color camp to change and modulate the colors and make sure they were harmonious and I didn't have funky undertones that didn't match and all of those things. So it's been absolutely wonderful. I love that. I love the course, and I wish I could take it again right now. But again, I'll probably get it in another year or two. But I love the course.
Wow, thank you so much. That makes me so happy to hear that. Wow. I love that you got feedback on your portfolio like that.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Thank you. Well, thank you so much for being here, Janet.
way to
Thank
do
you.
it.
Thank you all for being here. All right. So anybody have any more questions about anything? No? Okay, I have a few questions that were sent in here. So one was, how often will we meet live? That's from Caroline. Oh, these are all from Caroline. How often will we meet live? Um, that is, we'll be meeting every Friday at 12 p.m. noon Pacific time, and that will be our live Q&A. And they'll all be posted in the community, and you'll be able to RSVP, and you'll be able to um, ask questions on the post. I'm not sure if you all are logged into that yet, but when you log into the design club, you'll see that there's an event space there, but there'll be a specific event space just for color camp as well when that opens. And then if you're a VIP, we'll meet also on the Wednesdays of the 2 implementation weeks for a live office hours, like a Q&A as well. And I'll be sending a schedule out of everything. So, once everything gets sorted at the end of the week after everybody gets enrolled, then I'll be sending a schedule out. Yes, the lessons are pre-recorded. There are a few live surprise things that come along that I announced during color camp. So there might be a little gathering, a little color camp circle now and then to do live projects together. So those sorts of things happen in color camp. Will there be more games like bingo? There will be, yes, more games and little fun interactive events to do as well. Let's see what happened here. Sorry, I lost my Zoom for a second. I thought I quit. For the prior students, how many hours a week do you put into color camp homework? Well, I think that really depends on everybody. Like I said, it's one of those things you get, out of it, what you put into it. I think that in the very first exercises, I know there are a lot of people that are like I used to be when I was in art school, and they like want these like really perfect palettes. I know many of you are here had really beautiful presentations. And I give a few awards out at the end of color camp, and I give an award about presentations. And I can't remember, I think Rebecca Jacoby won it last year. But some of you put a lot of time and effort into your presentations of your work, and it looks really, really gorgeous. And some people just like run through it. But like Tracy said, like she treated it like a full-time job. So some people put a lot of work into color camp. And it just really depends on, you can, especially like with the mixing and stuff, that's all about principle. There is no right green you're ever going to mix from yellow and blue. Like who defines what that right green is? The editor of a book? What does the editor of another book say? Like there's so much science and so much things to think about color, but it's really about you getting to that place of you feeling comfortable with color and understanding the basic principles and essentials of how color works. And then being able to take those principles and use them in your own work, finding that own world of color that works for you. And I think color camp, like, I heard Janet say, like, it gave her permission to play. And you could see the Rebecca's work, how much it evolved from. I would even go kind of gamble on saying that Rebecca's first piece that I showed would be kind of what Janet described, of like, you kind of try at the beginning. I even tried that with one of my patterns to like fit in. When you start learning about surface design, you think like, oh, it has to be these neutral warm colors or whatever. And people try to reproduce that and they don't succeed because they don't understand how neutrals work, and they don't understand how to develop a story from color. And so when you start to mimic something, that's when you can really tell, like, the imitation starts to fall apart. But another thing about, like, once you learn all those principles, is you can take command of the color and apply color in your world to see, use it the way that you want to use it in your world. And I think, it emboldens people to work with color. Not everybody has to work with bright colors like me, but it lets you understand how to work with bright colors, and then you can pull it into your world. But I think it emboldens you to play and be more brave with your color choices and have more color confidence. Let's see. Did I answer the question? Sherry, yes, there is a way to pay using Apple Pay. It should pop up when you're in the checkout. If it doesn't pop up, try using Safari to log in, and then it will pop up. The payment system works based upon your browser. So if you're using Google Chrome, it's probably going to suggest Google Pay. So try to use Safari and see if that shows the Apple Pay. If it doesn't, you can email me and let me know, and I'll figure something out for you. Annie says, I think the amount of time spent on the analog exercises also depends on your comfort level with the medium you're using. The first time I took color camp, I hadn't touched acrylic paint in like 20 years. When I took it again, I had more ease with the medium, so I didn't take quite as much time, and I felt more free to experiment. Yeah, I would agree with that. All right, let's see. I think those were all the questions that I had here. Does anybody else have any more questions? Anything come to mind? Sherry, let me unmute you here.
You answered my question beautifully, but under that, I don't think you saw Dawn's comment that she was wondering the same thing about PayPal or Klarna.
Oh, I don't have PayPal or Klarna. Thank you for pointing that out, Sherry. Dawn, I'm sorry, don't have PayPal or Klarna. If you can't pay with Apple Pay, Google Pay, or a credit card, email me and let me know, and I can try to work something out. But I can't make any promises, but I can see what I can do. All right, let's see. You guys want to see a couple more things that are going to be in the VIP box? Yes. Okay. I'm going to put in the link right now into the chat of the Color Camp registration page, just so you have it, but don't register yet because I'm going to give you a coupon. Oops. All right. I had a beautiful from the polka dot theme. Well, did you see where did I put it? Oh, here it is. The Color Camp coloring book, which many of you are a part of and in. It looks so beautiful. Let me show you here. You can see some of these pages through here. So many cool illustrations. Only just a few here. But yeah, so the Color Camp coloring book will be in the VIP box. Your issue of uppercase, which I already showed you. Back to the polka dot theme, a beautiful Denick quality sketchbook. Place to put your name. Color Camp. Super beautiful. Back to the polka dots. Color Camp socks. And if you're a VIP, you're going to get a special lesson that I'm going to do, and I'm going to take you into the making of all of these products. So you're going to understand like so many challenges that I had making this with color, all about color. And you have to be able to compromise. That's what you have to be able to learn. So, you know, these polka dots aren't exactly the same colors as these polka dots for a reason. And these polka dots aren't the same color as these polka dots for a reason. And the washi tape polka dots aren't the same color for a reason. So there's all these little things that you have to understand about color, and I'm going to teach you all about that. I worked really hard to curate the VIP box to work with independent artists, to work with independent small businesses, and to work with indigenous artisans as well. So like my friend Marcy made these for, well, I worked with a laser engraver and I made these, and I'll talk about that in as well, how these were actually produced. And I'll show you all my sketches, everything from beginning to end on how everything was produced, from like my roughest idea when I had it into how I got it done, basically. Marcy also made some other things for us. I don't have one handy. My friend Val, who's doing the black and white lesson, made this awesome piece of art for us. Silk screen. My friend Bersa, who's a calligrapher, and if you're in my Multicolor Minds Design Club, you're going to be getting a lesson from him soon, but this is this beautiful Dream in Color piece that he did. And these are all hand silk screened, and I'll be talking about how this gradient was achieved with ink. So this gradient wasn't done in Illustrator and printed. This gradient was done live with ink. And I'll talk about how that was done and how they change over time of the print. I'll show the first print, which is this one in the edition, to the last print in the edition, and you'll see the difference. And I worked with other small businesses like the Gray Muse to get like these really cool enamel keychains, and they're interactive, so the color wheel changes. Super dope. Lots of cool stuff. There's much more, but I can't show you everything now. And then everything won't be a surprise. All right, so any more questions? No, no. All right, I'm going to give you a coupon, and the coupon is live, LIVE 50, to save $50 if you haven't enrolled when you enrolled. There's the coupon. There's the link to enroll. That coupon expires tonight, July 23rd at midnight. And give me 10 minutes though after the call to make it, because I haven't done that yet. I'm running behind. I'm going to do it right now. All right. Any more questions? No? All right. I'm going to post this live in my design club, so you'll have access to that there. And I'll also post the links to our guests who are on here today. Oh, Kat has a question.
Yeah, sorry. So it's a slightly different topic. The design club, is
Mhm.
that now merged with the multicolor minds? Or do
Yes,
I
it's
need to
coming.
newly sign up, or am I
No,
still in
yeah.
there?
I'll give you all the information on that separately. So
Alrighty.
yeah, don't worry
So I
about it.
signed up today and I thought, now what? Now where am I at?
Yeah, don't worry.
Okay.
That's just for a color camp right now, but that's where we're
Okay.
moving to.
Okay, thanks.
So you don't need to worry about anything. But there's a free tier there. So there's lots of free content on there for people who want to just join and get some free design tips from me and get some free. There's like a whole series on. I think my favorite thing on there is my series on Flowdesk. If you follow that from beginning to end, you'll have a full newsletter by the time you're done. And you'll have like it going, you'll have ideas, and you'll be on your way to having a newsletter done. There's also Branding 101 that takes you through important branding topics. So there's lots of good video content in there to check out. All right, any more questions? No? All right, everybody. Well, it was so great to have you all here today. I hope to see you all in Color Camp. You have the links, you have the coupon. If you have any questions, you can message me at chico@studio-chico.com. Or if you're part of the design club, you can ask questions in there as well. All right. I look forward to seeing you all there. See you all soon. Bye, everybody.